She is an almost 1-year-old French Bulldog who has been under my care for the last 6 months. French Bulldogs, breed specific, they tend to be a little bit more prone to spinal conditions such as intervertebral disc disease. They tend to have hemivertebrae in their spine. They tend to, down the road, have some neurological issues. So we are being extremely preventive and proactive. We've already got her on a monthly maintenance. As far as adjustments and photobiomodulation, I'm going to demonstrate how I do a simple neuro exam in my clinic. We're going to start by having her stand up. It's probably the number one question I get is, how do you get the dogs to cooperate? And it's sometimes a challenge, but Mila's pretty good. So there are 4 phases of neurological degeneration. Conscious proprioception is the first to go, and it's usually the first to come back. Then we get loss of voluntary motor. Then there's loss of superficial sensory, and then at the end is loss of deep pain, and that usually has a very poor prognosis. So I'm going to start by checking Mila's conscious proprioception in all 4 legs. I'm going to flip her paw over, and her response should be to immediately want to put it back down flat. All right, let's go. Good girl. I know, what am I doing? Good girl. We're going to do the hinds. The hind legs. Okay. Good. Flip it over. Excellent. I got you. Now, something else I can do is something called wheelbarrow. And so that's going to test conscious proprioception as well as a little bit of voluntary motor. So for this, I am going to just scooch my treatment table out of the way a little bit. So how we perform wheelbarrow, she's going to stay right here. I'm going to lift her hind legs up. And as I lift her hind legs up, she should be able to balance and want to take a couple steps forward. Well done. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn her towards me, and I call this one the dance move. Same thing, I'm going to lift her front legs, and she should be able to balance on her hind legs, a couple steps forward. Come towards me, come towards me, come towards me. Very good girl, very good girl. So we don't have to worry. If conscious proprioception's intact with a normal response, we know that everything else neurologically, up the chain from the cerebellum to the thalamus to the cerebrum, is working just fine. So if Mia will lay nice and flat, I'm going to show how we check reflexes. I can do it standing. Ideally have her in a laying position. Let's see if we can get her side posture. Come on. Good girl. Good girl. You're going to stay just for a minute? Good girl. All right, so I'm going to check the bicep. So for this, oops, excuse me, fun fact. This is extension in a dog, even though it's flexion in a human. That's shoulder flexion in a dog. That confused me for a good few months during my chiro program. So we're going to stretch out that bicep muscle. It's okay. It's okay. You know, you can't eat it. You can't eat it. Good. I got an immediate reflex. Now we're going to check the tricep reflex right behind the elbow.
Like,
so for this, nice little tap. And I felt an immediate reflex. Well done, my cherie. All right, now same, just like us, we're going to check the patella reflex, and then we're going to check the Achilles reflex. So it's always just a little bit easier to do side posture. Believe it or not, Mia's actually cooperating pretty well. This is not necessarily the easiest thing to do on dogs because they don't know what I'm doing. Oh, I just got done complimenting you too. Let's just a little bit. And sometimes, this is why it's always helpful to have a handler. Try it one more time. I know. Gotcha. All right. So for the knee, okay, and I'm going to go ahead and flex just like I would a human, little tap. Perfect. Now we're going to get this one right here. So I'm going to flex the stifle or the knee, extend the hock or the ankle. Nice little tap. Beautiful. Well done, Mila. You pass. She's neurologically sound, which is always great to see. Do you want a little treat? Huh? You did so good.
Oh.